Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sheared podcast. I'm your host, Austin Creed. Welcome to the show. My friends, today we're talking about something that's very near and dear to my heart, okay? So, I've discussed politics at length on this show. I do it all the time. But you know what? I haven't really gone into my political philosophy. I haven't gone into where I line up, why, how come, how did I get there, and how it kind of ties into the message of this show, okay? And the reason I believe it to be important is, for those of you who have watched the show before, if you haven't, I'll give you a little bit of context. I been in the military. I had top secret clearance in the U.S. military. I've seen what the government does, and no, if the government is listening to me, I am not going to break any kind of paperwork that I signed. But what I will tell you is the government is, and that's not just the American government now. Governments in general, they're not to be trusted. You need to watch what they do because they're filled with flawed people who are power hungry, who are greedy, and are not transparent. Now, how does that tie into my personal philosophy, and how does that tie into where I line up politically? Well, I'm so glad you asked. I'll show you. It ties into this. I wouldn't classify myself as an anarchist. I'm not. I have philosophical tendencies to agree with the anarchists, but I wouldn't identify myself that way. However, I want to explore what elements of this that I identify with. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'll read it for you, what it says according to Google now. I'll read you what Google says. It says, anarchism is a political philosophy, a movement that opposes all justifications for authority. It seeks to abolish institutions that it believes maintain unnecessary coercion and hierarchy, such as nation states and capitalism. So I do not believe capitalism to be bad. I don't. I think capitalism actually works really well. Do there need to be checks and balances on it? Yes. Do we want socialism?
Oh, hell no!
No, we don't want socialism. Socialism is evil, and communism is even worse. Okay? And when I say evil, I don't mean like the cheesy villain laughs from the old cartoon films you probably watched as a kid. No, I mean evil as in it literally goes against everything that makes sense. It goes against the natural order of the universe and the natural laws of man, and incentivizes slothfulness and rewards. It penalizes people who work and are prosperous, and it rewards the slothful. That's why I believe it to be evil. But let's keep reading what this anarchism philosophy is and how it ties in to this show and to my philosophy, and maybe you can relate to it. I hope you can. Anarchism is a radical revolutionary idea. I don't know if who wrote this? The government? Did the government write this? Oh, jeez. Okay. Okay, sure. That says no one should be forced into any kind of hierarchy. For example, anarchism says that the government is harmful and not needed. So I disagree there. I believe the government is very necessary for most people. And later on, we're going to play a clip that really struck a chord with me when I was younger. And I realize it's from a TV show. But it's based off of Emma Goldman. It's based off of this kind of philosophy that ties into this idea. I believe most people have the inherent desire to be free when it comes to, they want to be free, right? Everybody thinks, oh, freedom good, servitude bad, right? Everybody conceptualizes that in their heads. But what they don't realize is that freedom is not free. It comes at a cost. Great personal suffering and sacrifice. Most people don't have the courage to embrace that. They want the freedom to be comfortable. They want the freedom to do what they want when it's convenient. They want the freedom to have other people pay their price, not them. So when it comes to this example of the anarchism saying that government is harmful and unneeded, that's where I disagree. I think it's unnecessary for people who have the guts to, I think it's I think the government is a necessary evil. I don't believe it to be unnecessary. I think the government is a necessary evil. In other words, like, how do I put this in a way that's not going to get me thrown off the internet? Screw it. We'll just go for it, okay? And if this video gets banned, I'll post on Twitter why. Because there's actual free speech over there. So, the government is like any other gangster organization. Anybody ever watch those old gangster movies, Al Capone, Godfather, The Sopranos, that kind of stuff, right? Or read history books about these people, okay? The government is different. There's an old Russian saying that says, the small-time criminals go to jail, the big-time criminals run the government. Now, I realize it's, whoa, Austin, that's cynical, man. I get that. Totally get that. Here's the interesting part, though. The government is run by crooks. Now, when I say crooks, I don't mean from a legal perspective, because legally, they're not crooks. Legally, they're not crooks because they're the ones who write the laws, fund the laws, draft the laws, pass the laws, interpret the laws. They're the ones who actually do all of that. So, of course, they're not legally criminals, officially, in case anybody wants to sue me. But let's be honest here. You want to tell me that the people at the top, the people in power, that theirs cleans the driven snow? You want to sit here and tell me that you've never seen any funny business going on? I mean, just look at, allegedly, Joe Biden's son skimming millions of dollars from his Ukrainian company, where he has no background in oil, no background in anything other than his dad was vice president at the time, and they wanted an in with the United States government. Think about it like that. Why do you think the Constitution was framed in such a way where it says the government shall not do this, the government will not do that, this right will not be infringed upon? It's because they knew the government would do it the first chance they got, so they had to put it in there and say, you can't do this. They knew it was going to happen. They knew it was a matter of time, so they put in safeguards. Now, are those safeguards enforced all the time? It's up for debate. But let's go back to this. This is why I don't believe the government to be unneeded. It's always going to be around. Most people require strong leadership. They require someone to tell them, hey, go do this right now, at this time, in this way, whatever. They need people to do that. Most people are sheep. And they need a shepherd, they need a flock leader, they need to be guided to green pastures so they can graze and be happy and be fat and not think about the wolves that are around the corner circling them. So the sheepdogs are supposed to guard them, the shepherd's supposed to lead them, the flock leaders are supposed to keep them in order. This is why I believe the government to be necessary, because they serve that purpose in the same way. Because think about it like this. You want to say the US government's evil and should go away. Okay, guess who's going to move in? China, Russia, India, Britain, Saudi Arabia. All those countries are worse. I know you don't believe that, but they're worse. Because in a lot of those countries, slavery is still legal. And for those of you who want to say that slavery's gone, oh no, it isn't. You ever heard of human trafficking? Oh yeah, there's more slaves today than there has been in the history of the human race. But don't tell that to the people who think that, oh, I'm so oppressed, man. My ancestors, well, not mine, but somebody else's, but not necessarily theirs, but somebody else's was oppressed 150 years ago, and now we deserve reparations. Oh really? Why aren't we talking about the feminists who want to say, we need more women's rights. We need more rights for the gays. We need more rights for the women. We need more rights for the transgenders. We need more rights for these people. Meanwhile, there are women who are being hurt around the clock by evil people in the Middle East, in China, and all these other places. Where are the feminists on that? Answer, nowhere. Because they don't care. It doesn't make them money. They don't care about any of that crap. I do. Because I'm talking about it. They don't. When's the last time you heard Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, or any of these other brave icons of female empowerment talk about the attack of Yazidi girls by the Muslims? Answer, you haven't. When was the last time you heard them talk about the child labor laws in China? You didn't. Because they don't. When's the last time you heard them talk about America and the family and how beautiful everything is and how men have a short end of the stick and how we need to revisit the laws on that? You didn't, because they don't care about any of it, which is why I want to have a voice for people out there who don't have the courage to say the things I just said to you. I guarantee you, I will be shocked if I put this video on the internet and this does not get struck down. I don't get a content strike. I don't get a hate speech crime or any of these other crap. Even though none of this is hatred. None of this is hatred. None of this is false. This is all facts, and people don't want to hear it. I say this because I love my country and I love the people out there who don't feel empowered, who feel like, oh, you have been told their whole lives, you have male privilege, you have racial privilege, you have this privilege and that privilege. I'm sick of it. Which is why, going back to this, I agree with them saying the government can be harmful, because the government empowers big money and pushes you down if you're nothing. That's what they do. Every government on earth does that. There are the peasants and there are the powerful, and then there are a couple of people in between who are usually merchants who try to move up. That's about it. Anarchism is a theory about human relationships without coercive forms of authority, hierarchy, or exploitation of other human beings. Well, that sounds nice in theory, but that doesn't work that way. I mean, let's think about it like this. Let's pretend like we don't have central authority or a social hierarchy. People are always going to get exploited. Where there's power or money present, people will fill that gap. That is human nature, my friend. That is human nature. In the caveman days, we fought with sticks and stones. In modern days, we fight with lawsuits and slander. I mean, what's the difference now? It's just a different form of warfare. And as Sun Tzu wrote, all warfare is based on deception. Want to disagree? Go ahead. But that's why I tell you, my friends, that I consider myself a philosophical nomad. Now, I'm not living in the desert. I'm not a physical nomad per se, but I am a philosophical, religious nomad who has a different idea of how to run their life. I pick and choose where I want so that I can have my own philosophy and I can stand in my own presence and not just conform. I despise conformity. I find it to be a sign of weakness. But what is a nomad? A nomad is a person or tribe that moves from place to place to find food, pastures for their livestock, or to make a living. I like that definition. It's very good. Nomadic tribes often follow a set seasonal or annual pattern of settlements and movements. Nomadic people traditionally travel by foot, canoe, or animal. So this is what they used to do back in the day. But now, you don't have to go on a camel. You don't have to ride down the river. You don't have to do these things. Instead, you can go your own way. Do whatever it is you want to do. You can start your own channel like I did. If you have a voice, you can use that voice. I guarantee you're not alone. I guarantee you, if you have the guts to talk, you have the guts to face the opposition that will come your way. Because let me tell you, you will face opposition every which way you go. And you have to put aside this idea of, oh, I want to be liked. I want people to like me. I want people to enjoy me. I want people to be pleasant around me. Well, some people still might, but most people are going to not want to do that. But they're sheep anyway. They're sheep. Why do you care what they think? And then they give examples of nomadic tribes, the hunter-gatherers, the pastoral nomads. But that's where I got this idea of the sheep get sheared idea from, because they realize that if they just slaughter the animal, then that's a one and done. That's why the government taxes you instead of just upright robs you. You could argue that taxes is robbery, but it's tribute. Taxes is tribute. And it doesn't matter whether it's the United States government or any other government on earth, clan, central, feudal, doesn't matter. It always comes down to tribute. You always are going to pay tribute unless you have the strength to go your own way completely, but I don't know anybody who does that really anymore. You have to do it mostly when it comes down to, what do you allow people to influence you to do? How much are you plugging into a system that does not care about you, and why do you do it? Why do you put yourself into a system that spits on you, and then you thank them for spitting on you, and you go back and go to do what they tell you? Why? I'm not saying break the law. I'm not saying do anything that's bad. I'm saying, but why do you just conform? Because I asked you nicely? Because some nice woman looked at you with her cheap clothes and looked at you and said, hi, dear. Yes, I think it'd be nice if you did this, that, and the other. I don't care what they say. Bah! Well, I mentioned to you a clip that I wanted to show you. So this is a clip from those of you who may not have seen this show. It's called The Sons of Anarchy. Okay? It's about a biker gang. Now, I don't endorse their behavior. This is a fictional show. But what I want, it's the idea that they became their motorcycle club. I find it very interesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to this. We're going to listen to this and we're going to break it down. Let's do it. Fair use.
First time I read Emma Goldman wasn't in a book. I was 16, hiking near the Nevada border. The quote was painted on a wall in red. When I saw those words, it was like someone ripped them from the inside of my head.
Anarchism stands for liberation of the human mind from the dominion of religion. Liberation of the human body from the dominion of property. Liberation from shackles and the restraint of government. It stands for social order, based on the free grouping of individuals.
Beautiful, right? I know. Beautiful. Here's the problem, though, with every other, oh, this is so idealistic and whatnot. To an extent, it is idealistic, 100%. But, my friends, this, to me, resonates very deeply when it comes to having the audacity, having the boldness to make your own rules in your life. I'm not saying rebel. I'm not here to tell you to rebel against the government or whatever. No, absolutely not. What I'm saying is, why do you let people tell you what to do? Why do you let other people dictate your life? Why do you let other people dictate what you should be attracted to? What you should do in a relationship, what you should do professionally? Why do you let these people do this to you? Why do you let them govern you? Why do you let them live rent-free in your head? Why do you let them do that to you? I don't understand it. I did it for a while too, and it makes no sense because when you realize they don't actually care about you, you realize, wait a minute, why am I doing everything to benefit them? The people who really want to be generous out there, you have to have something to give something. If you have nothing to give, then you're not generous. You're just broke. You're just nothing. So this is why you need to have the guts to go your own way, the guts to stick to what you believe to be true and to do it. Always being able to learn, always having an open mind, but realizing that this is the basic fundamental programming of every man. But then this is overridden by conditional behavior that is programmed to us to benefit the government, the people in power, the corporations, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying capitalism is bad. Capitalism is good, in my opinion. But this is the fundamental programming of every man. Every man wishes he could fight the worst enemies he has on his best day. He wishes he could do it. But then he is restrained. He's told he shouldn't seek revenge. He's told he shouldn't care about that. He's told every which way to avoid what he actually wants to do, and that what he wants is no good. And I don't believe that to be true. Let's finish this clip.
The concept was pure, simple, true. It inspired me, lit a rebellious fire. But ultimately, I learned the lesson that Goldman, Proudhon, and the others learned, that true freedom requires sacrifice and pain. Most human beings only think they want freedom. In truth, they yearn for the bondage of social order, rigid laws, materialism. The only freedom man really wants is the freedom to be comfortable.
100% true. Now, for those of you who don't know the show or whatnot, I can give you a little background. The whole scene is the vice president of the biker gang is going through a rough time in his somewhat relative youth. I think he's in his 30s in this show. Talking about how he doesn't agree with all the decisions that they're making. His father was one of the founders of the club, and he's reading his dad's journal. His dad's journal talks about these things. He's very philosophical that way. How you need to have the guts to stand up for what you believe, what you want in this life, not just let people take it from you. Why do you let people just take away your dreams from you? And anytime you want to stand up for yourself or speak your mind, you're faced with counter arguments like this.
This is the worst kind of discrimination. The kind against me.
Every which way, you're told that what you want shouldn't matter. You should put other people before yourself. You should do all these things, but yet, when it comes to you, they're told you like, oh, you're a good person, you're a good man, whatever. That's not always a compliment. That means you're good for them. Because if they tell you you're a bad person, that means you're doing good for yourself. Now, I'm not saying you should not care about anybody else besides yourself. That's up to you. What I'm telling you is this. You need to have the guts to go out there and do what you want to do. I encourage you to do that. You don't have to. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm not in the business of telling people what they should do, but it is my opinion that you stand only to gain by realizing that being a philosophical nomad, being someone who embraces elements of this anarchy mentality into your personal life can help you become a better human being, more powerful in your relationships, not accept things from people that you don't want in the name of them liking you, which is a complete waste. That is what I encourage. That is what I want for you. I don't want you to be somebody else's nice little man. I want you to be the man that you wanted to be, the man that you see in the mirror or see in your head that you've always wanted to be. That is what I want for you. Now, do you have the guts to go and do that? That's a whole nother conversation. But I encourage you to really break this down and see how you can apply it to your life. Maybe it can make your life better and you can become a stronger man who stands up for what he believes in. There's a saying that I really agree with is a strong man stands up for himself, but a stronger man stands up for others. But you need to be that stronger man first. You need to be that strong man who takes care of himself. Then, once you can take care of you, you can then go a step further and take care of others if that is what you wish. But you can't help other people if you can't even help yourself. That doesn't make any sense. That's why when you see these old movies of this dude, the dorky guy who gets beat up by the bully trying to help the girl, that's not bravery. That's biting off more than you can chew. That's not bravery. You can't even defend yourself. You need to learn how to take care of yourself first, and then you can take care of other people. You need to make sure you can handle your relationships before you can go and give someone else advice on theirs. That is what I believe. I hope that you can really mull through that, and maybe that can help you better your life. If you like what you're hearing, you have any questions, comments, concerns, criticism, whatever, you can hit me in the comment section or go over to Twitter at SheepGetSheared. DMs are open. I post every day pretty much at this point. I have thousands of posts. I encourage you to go over there. Let your voice be heard. If you want to tell me I'm right, wrong, somewhere in the middle, go ahead. I welcome it. If you want to really break down what it is, how I got to where I am, why I believe what I believe, and maybe you can learn something from it, Biblical Bachelor is where you should go. My first manuscript, I recommend you check it out. My friends, I encourage you to take care of yourselves and to question why you believe what you believe, to stay vigilant, informed, question everything that comes your way, because not everybody has your best interest at heart. And I want you to remember that. I'm out of here. Take care. Peace.